We are a little over 2 weeks away from the start of the XFL season. With a new league, it means some new names as well as some old names. In this series, we will be going team by team, previewing the head coach of each team, as well as some names you may recognize either from college football or the NFL. In this episode, we will be talking about Tampa Bay. Before we get into this, check out my previews of the Seattle Dragons, DC Defenders, Los Angeles Wildcats, and Houston Roughnecks. I will link them in the upper right corner. Also follow me on Twitter at JRO'Brien_28 and check out our podcast where we talk about the NFL, XFL, and college football on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or at embracethegrind.org. Originally, this was not supposed to be in the video, but as I was editing it, Antonio Callaway was signed by the Tampa Bay Vipers. Callaway would play college football at the University of Florida. While at Florida, Callaway would have 89 receptions for 1,300 NFL draft. In 2019, Callaway was suspended for the first 4 games due to marijuana and would be waived by the Browns in November due to being late to practice and meetings, as well as the fact he was facing a 10-game suspension. Callaway would be suspended for the last 7 games of the 2019 season, as well as the first 3 games of the 2020 season. While in the NFL, Callaway would play in 20 games and have 51 receptions for 675 yards and 5 touchdowns. Tampa Bay will be led by head coach Marc Trestman. Trestman is known for his work in the CFL, also known as the Canadian Football League. Trestman coached for the Montreal Alouettes from 2008 to 2012 and for the Toronto Argonauts from 2017 to 2018. In between his 2 stints in the CFL, Trestman would be the head coach of the Chicago Bears from 2013 to 2014, and he would become the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens from 2015 to 2016. Trestman had a 13-9 record as a head coach in the NFL and a 72-54 record in the CFL. Trestman would also win 3 Grey Cups, the Super Bowl of the Canadian Football League, and have a playoff record of 7-3. Trestman will have a choice of 3 quarterbacks on his team between Aaron Murray, Tyler Cornelius, and quarterback/halfback Quentin Flowers. Aaron Murray played quarterback at Georgia in college. While at Georgia, Murray would have 13,166 yards passing, 121 touchdowns, which ranked 8th all-time in college football, 41 interceptions with a completion percentage of 62.3%. He would have his best year in 2012, his junior year, throwing for 3,893 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, completing 64.5% of his passes. Murray would be drafted in the 5th round of the 2014 NFL Draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He would also spend time with the Cardinals, Eagles, and Rams between 2014 and 2017. Murray would play for the Atlanta Legends of the AAF in 2019. While with the Legends, Murray would throw for 1,048 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, while completing 64.8% of his passes. Murray would also rush for another 96 yards on 19 carries, but also had 3 fumbles. Murray's turnovers are a major concern from the last time we saw him play and may open up the door for Taylor Cornelius. Taylor Cornelius played quarterback at Oklahoma State. Cornelius' college career had a storybook ending after he led a dramatic comeback win over, at the time, ranked 9 West Virginia on senior day. Cornelius would not earn the starting quarterback job until his senior year. Cornelius would throw for 4,198 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 12 rushing touchdowns, while also having 13 interceptions, completing 59.5% of his passes. During his senior year, Cornelius would throw for 3,978 yards, 32 passing touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, completing 59.4% of his passes. Cornelius would go undrafted in the 2019 NFL Draft and now gets a shot in the XFL to prove his senior year was not a fluke. Quentin Flowers has to be the most versatile player on this roster. He is labeled as a running back currently, but Trestman said he will also get time at quarterback. Flowers played quarterback at the University of Southern Florida, aka USF. During his college career, he would throw for 8,124 yards, 71 passing touchdowns, and 23 interceptions while completing 57.7% of his passes. He would also rush for 3,672 yards and 41 touchdowns, averaging 6.1 yards per carry. His best year was probably his junior year in 2016. Flowers would throw for 2,812 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions while completing 62.5% of his passes. That same year, Flowers would also rush for 1,530 yards, and 18 touchdowns on the ground with a 7.7 average yards per carry. He accounted for 4,342 yards that year and had 42 touchdowns. Flowers would go undrafted in the 2018 NFL Draft and would be signed by the Bengals as a running back. Flowers would also spend 6 days with the Colts in 2019. Flowers should be a fun player to watch, especially when you consider the weapon he can be when it comes to the double forward pass, and also the idea the XFL might be making a video game. Toledo wide receiver Alonzo Russell could be a major weapon for these three quarterbacks. Russell would have 202 receptions for 3,076 yards and 24 touchdowns during his college career. Russell would go undrafted in the 2016 NFL Draft and would be signed by the Cincinnati Bengals. He would spend the whole season on their practice squad before being waived at the beginning of 2017. Russell would spend time with the Cardinals and Giants. While with the Giants, Russell would be signed to the active roster at the end of the 2018 season but did not record any stats. Former Michigan running back Devon Smith is someone else to watch. While at Michigan, Smith would rush for 2,235 yards and 22 touchdowns on 495 attempts. During the 2017 NFL Draft, Smith would go undrafted. He would spend time with the Miami Dolphins and Washington Redskins before signing for the Orlando Apollos of the AAF. While with the Apollos, Smith would have 345 yards and 6 touchdowns with 75 carries. On February 9th, Tampa Bay will open up their season against the New York Guardians at 2 p.m. on Fox.